What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 3, Episode 7. So we are still at Heather's choir auditions. Outside of the auditions, the two Angies are going at it. Angie K, who is, I think she's a friend of Jen, and then Angie H. So they're going at it. So Angie K basically confronts Angie H about her creating the Shaw exposed account. And Angie H says that she had nothing to do with that Shaw exposed account, that it was all her husband's doing. He was the one that created the account and she had absolutely nothing to do with it. So then when Whitney hears this, Whitney now kind of looks like she's having second thoughts about auditioning with Angie H, because I guess Whitney had no idea that Angie H and or her husband were involved in the Shaw exposed fake account. So Jen comes in. She joins into the mix. So Jen tells Angie H that she is accountable for everything that her husband does, just like her and Coach Shaw are accountable for one another. So then Angie H, she went there. She says to Jen, so you're saying that Coach is also responsible for the things that you've been charged with? She went there. She went all the way there. So Jen screams at the top of her lungs, "I'm innocent!" But then later on, she pleads guilty. So these people, I'm telling you, it's like, are these people real? Is this real life to them? These people are absolutely nuts. First of all, Angie H even thinking that, number one, anybody's going to believe that she had nothing to do with the Shaw exposed account, that her husband concocted this whole fake account thing on his own, told her absolutely nothing about it. Either Angie H, either you and your husband do not communicate a whole lot, or you're both-faced liar when you say that you had nothing to do with that Shaw exposed account. Because why is your husband, a grown man, why is he getting involved, like people like to say on reality TV, why is he getting involved in women's business? And number two, he has no other business to attend to. He has nothing going on in his life. He has all the time in the world to create a fake account to try to attack another woman that he believes is somehow attacking his wife. So he creates a fake account, like a 16-year-old girl, on Twitter to attack, whoever, one of her classmates she's having beef with. Your husband, a grown man, you need to really reevaluate your marriage, Angie H, if this is the man that you married. So Heather comes out because somebody went in and told Heather, you're going to have to come outside and deal with what's going on outside because there's a huge commotion. So Heather comes out and Angie H asks Heather, do you know my husband to be a bad guy? And Heather said no. And so Jen screams, but he created that fake account. And so Heather says, but I thought the two of you had already talked about it and moved on. Heather then removes herself from the entire situation and goes back in to deal with her auditions. Then Lisa comes to actually audition. I mean, this episode, things just got more and more weird. So the two Angies are fighting outside. Jen is screaming at the top of her lungs. Then Lisa shows up to sing a song. So Lisa shows up and she's there, she says, to support Heather, because her and Heather have been going at it over the whole obituary, the text message about, I hope your father gets better, all of that. So they've been kind of going at it. So she wants to come to the audition to be in support of Heather. But did you have to sing though, Lisa? Did you really have to sing? Couldn't you just show up like Meredith and just your presence being enough to show support? Did you really have to sing? So she sang her little diddly. Everybody was blown away. I was just like, what is going on? So then Jen gets Lisa all caught up in what's been going on there, with the two Angies going at it and the whole Shaw exposed account, all of that stuff. So then Jen wants to give Heather an ultimatum. It's either going to be her or it's going to be Angie H, which is also, to me, extremely immature, because that's what kids do in schools. Like, if I don't like her, you don't like her. It doesn't matter what relationship the two of y'all have. If I don't like someone, then none of my friends can like them either. I think that's a little bit immature. I think the mature thing is, if you're having an issue with someone, then you're having an issue with someone, but you can't demand your friends to not associate with that person because you don't like that person. Anyway, so all the women, I guess the auditions are over. They all get together in some room over there, and they all have a ponderosa. Shout out to Jackie from Basketball Wives. So Jen expresses her grievances, about what she's been going through and the Shaw Exposed account, how it affected her. And Angie H apologizes to Jen. But then Lisa is upset because she didn't get an apology. She felt like that Angie should have also apologized to her, for talking about how she was, exchanging favors for jazz tickets. So Lisa, I'm not quite sure why. I don't remember, but I was wondering, like, why didn't Lisa like confront Heather H head on about, well, what about what? I don't know. Did she confront her? I don't even remember. But Lisa confronts Heather about something about using her father's death to attack other people, because Lisa sees it as an attack on her when at the reunion from last year, when they were in New York, and Heather had said, "You never checked on me when my father was dying. And then you sent me that awful text messages asking me if my father was feeling better after he had passed away." So in Lisa's mind, like in Lisa's mind, I guess Heather really knew the truth, that she did not send the text message after her father passed away. And so in Lisa's mind, Heather was just using that just to attack her. So Lisa and Heather, they're having this conversation where Lisa's like, you were using that to attack me, blah, blah, blah. And Heather is just tired of it all. And Heather is just like, you know what, whatever. You're right. I'm wrong. You're perfect. I'm not. And then she walks away because she's had it with Lisa. And I just don't think that Lisa should even be bringing that up. You're talking about whatever was going on, whatever you thought was going on, to bring up her father's death so nonchalantly like that, like it was just a byproduct of the real issues that you and Heather were having. It's just so crass and it's just rude beyond rude, to keep bringing up this woman's father passing away to make your point. Moving on from all of that. So Heather, she visits the new site of her new beauty bar. Yeah, that's it with that. Then Lisa, her and her husband, I think her husband's name is John, because we have John, we have Justin, and I don't remember the name of Meredith's husband. But anyway, so Lisa and her husband, they go to the oyster bar just to have like a date night, just for the two of them. And they order the Vita tequila, which is obviously her own tequila. So she orders it. And the waiter says that it's one of their best sellers. And then in her confessional, she says that, he wasn't paid to say that. Okay. And so she talks about, all the stuff that she's been going through with these group of women. And she says that the one thing that's really missing in her life is her relationship with God. And she needs to find a way to reconnect with God. Moving on from there. So Jen, she's at home with her husband, Coach. And she tells Coach about what happened at the auditions. She tells him that it was Chris Harrington who was behind the fake account. Coach is pissed. Coach is pissed off because obviously, they involved his wife, and he just thought he thought that him and the Harringtons were good. And so he doesn't understand why, Chris Harrington would do something so awful against, his wife, even though it was the account was called Shaw Exposed. It was primarily created to attack Lisa. So Coach wonders, like what I wonder, like what would cause a grown man to go after someone who didn't do anything to them, because it wasn't like he was having any kind of issue with Jen Shaw, but then he uses her name in it. Heather had sent her some flowers to apologize to her, and Coach doesn't buy it, and Coach tells her that she really needs to evaluate who her real friends are. And the reason I think also he said that was because Heather is she's still associating with the Harringtons. So the Coach wants Jen to be really, really careful with Heather. So moving on from there, Whitney and Lisa, they have a play date. They first talk about Justin being a stay-at-home dad. And Whitney says now she is the primary breadwinner for her family. Then they talk about Heather. And Lisa once again talks about how Heather had used her dad's death to lie about her, so she had to use Heather's dad's death to clear her name. Basically justifying why she had posted the obituary on her social media when she was trying to prove her point of when exactly she sent that text. Lisa is so, just, I don't see any redeeming quality in Lisa whatsoever. I can't think of a single thing about Lisa that's positive other than, she loves her family and she loves her junk food. I don't know anything about her that is positive at all. And I don't know how you can not realize that constantly bringing up your friend's father's death in order to prove your little point. I can't understand how she doesn't see how that's just not acceptable. And that's just bad behavior. Anyway, Whitney then questions, how her life is going to be now without Heather because they were so close, but they're having their own tension, their own beef, and so life is just different without Heather. When her husband lost his job, normally Heather would have been the first person she would have called, and they would have talked about it, and Heather would have made her feel better, but she can't do that anymore. Heather's not there for her anymore. So later on, we see a scene where Whitney comes over to Heather's house, and Whitney asked why Heather didn't call her when her husband Justin was fired. Heather said she didn't know. And I think Whitney has said, well, we have the same friends, so, word would have gotten around. But Heather says she had no idea that Justin was fired from his job. The conversation goes left pretty damn quickly when Whitney seems to side with Lisa regarding the tweets that Lisa had put out, trying to defend herself and proving that she did not text Heather after her father had passed away. So Whitney got really upset with Whitney, sort of like trying to explain Lisa's point of view or to explain why Lisa did what she did. Whitney gets really upset. She gets up. She's over it. She's done with the whole meeting, visit, whatever you want to call it. She tells Whitney to leave. She's done, and that's where it all ends. Someone had said, I don't remember which content creator said this, but someone had said that on these reality TV shows, especially like when it comes to the housewives, every single housewife is going to have their day. You might be a hero one season, and then the next season they're going to make you out to be a villain. And it looks like that's what's happening now with Heather. Ever since this particular franchise began, Heather has always been the peacemaker. She's been the voice of reason. She's been the one to kind of calm everybody down. She's been the one that's kind of been like, everybody's friend. But her time has finally come where they're going to make her out to be the villain. The way that they're presenting her as someone who is siding with someone like Angie H, who's, Angie H is extremely problematic and controversial, but they're making it seem like, Heather is really siding with her, is really, good friends with her, and is basically choosing her over everybody else. So yeah, that's interesting how they're painting Heather out to be the villain this year. If I had to have a favorite for this franchise, Heather would be my favorite. Because like I said, she's the one that is the least controversial, the most reasonable. Is she reasonable in the real world sense? I don't know, but she's the most reasonable person on this show, and that might not say much about her, but she's the most reasonable person on this show. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't see anything redeeming in Lisa. I don't sympathize with Lisa one bit. I think Lisa is a horrible person. How she just has it's all about her, I guess she's like the purest definition of a narcissist. It's all about her, what she thinks, what she says, what she wants. She doesn't give a damn how anybody feels, about anybody else's point of view. It's just all about her. I would never, ever. If Heather had told me, look, it was really uncool that you sent me that text message after my father passed away. Once I realized, okay, I really didn't send it to her after her father passed away. First of all, I would have just apologized. I wouldn't even have turned it into like any kind of a social media battle. I just would have said, okay, I'm so sorry, but I did not send it to you after your dad passed away. I actually sent it to you before. But then I would have had enough wherewithal to realize that even sending a text like that, where it says, I hope your father feels better, when her father was dying, I would have been like, wow, girl, you really did that, Cookie? You really? No, that's not cool. I would have apologized for the content of the text. I would have apologized for everything because this girl lost her dad. At the end of the day, she lost her father. I cannot go into an argument with a woman who lost her dad and to argue with her about when her dad died exactly. It's just stupid and just so rude. But anyway, that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please do not forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.